Hi, welcome everyone to our talk at Pioneer Works and Icon Hub. We have here Tommy, which I haven't seen in a while in person,
Yeah.
and me, Asher. And it's kind of weird that we are both here in New York and we are in Rome. And from
Yeah.
Rome, that's kind of like this part of our digital reality here.
Yeah.
So the we're gonna start about Tommy. So you were just asking me like how is this festival been going on for me, the Maker Faire. Was that the question?
Yeah. Yeah. The question was, how's it going? What have you done the past couple of days? You've done a number of events. You've been running around from Zoom performance to virtual social VR experience. What have you done? Maybe we could use that as an entry point to talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah, well, I just literally got out of one social VR experience, the one with Claudia Hart, Welcome to the Doll's House, which was really, I don't know, it's kind of, there are no words to describe how amazing it was. And every day, is different. The first one was yesterday, for the Maker Faire. Then
Uh-huh.
today, the last one, which I hope you get the opportunity to see. Uh,
Yes.
so and then we presented it last week at the Real Mix 2020 Festival in Bogota as well, and that was also like quite an experience. And we were just talking about how different it is because the Bogota was a virtual space, all like almost like a second life, and you enter there into the Mozilla Hub, and you are greeted by people that are walking you around. So it's kind of a so they were almost like a more immersed. And here we are in this new one where Matthew Gant has become more kind of a expert at moving and sound, which is
Absolutely.
moving around in virtual spaces.
Yeah.
So becoming all these, part of the architecture, part of the walls, and it's bleeding. If I say bleeding is the word, but it's merging. What is the performance? What is the audience? What is the and then we also did last week. We had Fito Segrera, which I would like to show some images about Claudia in a little bit, and also of Fito, and the difference was between the two works, what they did. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, so it's Fito's work was more of a simple kind of like a black box, almost like a nightclub, but it was based all Fito's work is based on artificial intelligence and data. So basically, like all the representation that was inside the space were numbers that were directly coming from his brain, the data from his brain, and it was moments. So we had Matthew Gant as well performing in Fito space, which was, but the space pretty much kind of dictates the performance, how it was. Because so it's been very interesting for them during the Maker Faire because yes, we go from many talks. Like tomorrow we have the one with Christian Paul, which we open for the fair with Christian and I for the organized by the U.S. Embassy in Rome,
Uh-huh.
and that was very very interesting and was an honor for us to be opening that. And then we have and tomorrow is going to be another chapter of it. So it's like conversations with different artists, the performances, and also going into the section of maker and fashion tech, robotics, and the area of prosthetics. Which yesterday I had a conversation with Anouk Wiprecht, who was part of the keynote speakers of the Maker Faire, and yesterday we had a conversation specifically about prosthesis, which is an area that she's been focusing on for the last few years a lot, and it's a great interest for me.
Right. Well, maybe we can start a little bit with the first part you mentioned about the hoops, the Mozilla hubs.
Yeah,
This simple fact that we are both in New York, but also simultaneously present in Rome,
yeah,
a place that I have never visited or have been, had the opportunity to visit. Um, but somehow, and just kind of bring it back to this topic of, how we move forward in times of uncertainty. Um, this time has really kind of presented us with the unique opportunity to go places we have never to bring our artists, to support our artists in opportunities that are all over the world, because people are more open to having this kind of um, experience. And I just think that that has been wonderful. You talked a lot about doing the festival in Colombia, and I know that you've been doing a lot of kind of virtual presentations over the past um, few months. We similarly did a art and technology conference over the summer, and we had previously kind of like held them in our space in Red Hook, Brooklyn, which is hard to access and hard to get to already.
yeah.
Um, and just the simple fact of being able to do this online, trying to remain hopeful and see the positives in this situation, this terrible situation we see ourselves in now. It has really been allowed us to kind of amplify these artists and show them all over the world, and also allow people from places that they are less able to kind of leave, and to be able to engage with us in our community. So it's been kind of like a positive side to some of this stuff. I just wanted to.
It's definitely, it's definitely an opportunity to get out of our comfortable zone, which is which is once in a while is very needed to be
Yeah,
shaken, and
yeah,
then you reevaluate and start again. So otherwise, we just
yeah,
continue. I see myself always as going to a surfer in a big wave when I'm surfing, and it's pretty hard to jump off on it. So that's I want to start with let me share screen. It's gonna be very very casual here, and I hopefully I won't get mixed up the way going back. This one we did. Can you see my screen?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
So this one was Fito Sigreda last week at the Real Mix 2020, and
Maybe would you turn down? Yeah, maybe the. Okay, we lost the audio a little bit, but maybe you can. Okay, it sounds great.
is it? Oh, oh, shoot.
Maybe turn down the audio just a little bit on the YouTube video,
1 second.
or
Uh,
not.
yeah, let me figure out this. 1 second. Yeah. I'm not having my assistant here today, and I'm kind of getting.
Does your assistant plays all your YouTube videos for you?
Yes, it's kind of like helping with the sound. Sometimes that I get all mixed up about the. Can you see my screen?
No, you're not sharing anymore.
Okay, so. What about now? Can you see it now?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. So sorry that the sound is not the best, but it's. So in this case, we had Fito created this space based on, as I was saying, in his brain waves.
Uh-huh.
And then we had the come on, trying. Can you hear the sound?
Yeah, it's great.
Um, let me let me try. Let me try to share another video. But this one, what he was saying is that people were navigating, going. This space had two spaces. Can you hear me well?
Yes, absolutely. Great.
You enter one space, and from there you go, you navigate, move around, and you go into the other one. These alt shapes that look there, where it was his brain data, what was transferred here. So in this case, it was memory loss for moments when you get distracted. There was a camera in front of his, that was capturing his moments of that he was not concentrated, so it was creating these kind of nebulous things which he developed into sculptures. And the other ones were just curated imagery, what we are seeing here. But we had also Matthew Gant, the performer who was performing at Claudia Hart's
yes
video. He was doing a performance specifically made for this project. Yeah.
I think I don't know if you're showing a video, but we're not able to see you're sharing your screen, but it's just frozen on a still a Fito.
Got it. Okay, still in Fito. Okay, so let me get out of that and go back to. Let's go back. Where are we now?
Oh, I could see your YouTube. I could see your web browser and your. Okay,
sorry. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge here.
I think it's okay. So what is, I see Juan there Juan Cortez in Fito's room there.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, it's awesome to see like the community and other artists showing up for each other's work. I think he's also in the presentation watching us speak. So hey Juan.
Are you seeing now my share screen or no?
Yeah, I can see you.
You hear the sound. Okay, great.
Also, we see Matthew just joined us as well. Great to see.
Oh, okay.
Great to see some familiar faces.
Okay.
And is that Matthew's avatar there as well?
Yes, Matthew's avatar, yes.
Wonderful.
So here, just like 1 second. We have this was the house built by Claudia Hart, and it's that's the whole concept about the building from the ruins of a house that had been falling out of repair. You know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. And so Matthew came in and worked with Claudia in developing a specific piece for this, where he became pretty much part of the architecture of the space.
Yeah.
And also with the sounds of Kurt Henschlager, who started like the basis of the sound for the space.
Awesome.
And joined forces between the two of them, creating this very ambisonic experience, which when you get close to Matthew's, the persona there, you are pretty much immersed in the sound. So that's
right.
And you get far, you hear it less. So that's
one
of the things that I found it like really fascinating, also because in this case you could invite all the friends to for a private party in a way, and you are seeing all your friends from all over the world to come and join you and just be with you. So for me, it was pretty much like being the closest to being physical in a nightclub with all my friends, which I haven't seen in all these months of close down.
Yeah, it's awesome. I really love, Claudia, Matthew, and Kurt are all, have become good friends of mine just through working in this world. Are all people I really respect a lot. Matthew also, who is in this chat, I think, has been doing a lot of work related to, social VR and kind of like helping us navigate, this uncertain territory that we find ourselves in, which I think is like part of what we're supposed to be talking about today. And so just want.
So what have you been doing with Matthew Gant? I hear he did a residency at Pioneer Works, no?
Yeah, Matthew did a residency, as did Claudia. Some kind of really kind of invested or kind of like thinking a lot about both their works in different ways. Matthew did a virtual performance in real life. So it was a staged performance with a performer wearing VR headset during one of our kind of public events at a performance there. And Claudia did something similar as well, where we had two performers on stage who are both mapped into a virtual space that was projected into our performance area. And there were music that was performed by two percussionists composed by Ed Campion from Sinmat. And I am talking about like two pieces at the same time, but they both draw a lot of parallels to each other. And it was really cool to see them both collaborating on a piece in this new space. Yeah, but just the whole hoops.net project, with his kind of like creating a community for people to still gather and perform has been really exciting to see. And I think, something that we've all been kind of wrestling with. I've been skeptical of it, but this is one of like a example of it done well, I think. This whole Zoom talking head thing has been difficult for me over the past few months. Pioneer Works has kind of shifted towards doing live stream performances in our space. So I really like to see people kind of, still trying to engage with the physical space as much as possible. We've been having kind of like talks in our space with very few kind of attendees that still give the performers or the people that are talking that immediate feedback from the audience, and then still get it live streamed out so that people can still experience it. One of the things that's been really missing for me during this whole time is that physical kind of engagement, or when I look out into the audience, I can see people bored to death or kind of engaged. And that kind of gives me the energy or, to kind of like respond to. And, as I'm doing this now, I kind of like have to look off outside because, just to kind of like look directly at somebody and not kind of have this like, in this like kind of like delayed kind of like reaction is like difficult for me to kind of like interact with. So, Pioneer Works has been doing some of these performances where we have a videographer on site, and this has been live streamed out, and you kind of have this more kind of like physical feedback and engagement between an audience and a performer. So that's been exciting to see. In terms of our, like our position as a nonprofit institution. We find ourselves in an area where we are, kind of in a lot of ways part of this gentrification process that a lot of arts nonprofits find themselves in areas of Brooklyn and Manhattan, wherever you are. So we do our best and we try to kind of respond to that by enmeshing ourselves in the community in a variety of ways. This talk around uncertainty kind of positions itself in a timeline after post-COVID, post kind of like this most recent call for racial equity. But we found ourselves in a time of uncertainty, way before that. Before COVID, there were plenty of uncertainties already. And so our technology program has invited people over the past few years to kind of interact or engage with that uncertainty by creating speculative projects in technology that kind of challenge a lot of these or find solutions to a lot of these social problems.
Yeah,
Claudia.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say Claudia is someone in particular who kind of like engages with the virtual world to challenge kind of like stereotypical, gender roles. And it's like, finding kind of like a place in virtuality to kind of spring towards thinking about masculinity and femininity through motion capture and performance. And I'm curious as to how like this new piece kind of reflects some of those ideas. I don't.
Well,
What is?
you were just mentioning in the performance a few minutes ago that is, if I understood well and if I remember well, is talking about gender breaking boundaries, and it's started like with the drag queens, for example, and how it's like, and also this new term, I don't know, which is called he's something that is not male, is not female, cisgender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and which is pretty much like playing with those things, which like Matthew, the character is one of those, and also the sounds is not a specific sounds of a male, female, any other stuff, and what we are going playing with into all these, of course, the characters, people that are coming into the house, they have these assigned characters. Like, I mean, in my case, I'm a plant, I'm a human eating plant. That's my avatar, that I have for all the things, but it's taken from Audrey from Little Shop of Horrors, actually. But but the other ones are mostly like a male, female. And we were saying that in Bogota, for example, in the Real Mix Festival, all of the avatars were like kind of like a little robotic soldiers, and everybody looked the same, except the performers, which we could choose our own design avatars. And in this case, so we had, he was saying like it felt a little bit like a Sleep No More in a way.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody gonna look the same.
I've always been creeped out by the Sleep No More.
Well, so that was not too interesting because it's like adding more layers of surreality to the. But yeah, I don't know what Matthew has to say. Matthew is still here, and he's in the chat. He just made a comment. He has anything to say about the gender part of it. And if anybody at any point want to ask a question relevant, please feel free to do it.
Yeah, I've been really kind of excited by this new book, Glitch Feminism by Legacy Russell, which looks at similar concepts, looking at the internet as a space to kind of challenge, these kind of boxes that society and culture has put people in, specifically around kind of like around gender norms. And so looking at the digital space as a site where those kind of questions can happen. It's I think it was published during COVID as well, so it's very fresh. I recommend people check that out.
And I think like one of the things that is interesting about these social VR performance spaces is also that we have some superpowers there. Like you can fly, for example. You could go across walls, and also you could take different shapes. So there's kind of, interesting things that in real life we don't have. We cannot do that. But it also helps us to explore like these new realities where we are not stuck in our bodies thing, but it could be as wild as we want to be, and and then I think some of these things we could retain some of these superpowers after things go back to some type of normality in a way.
Yeah. That reminds me a lot of, and maybe this might be a good time to kind of bring in the work of two artists that you've worked with a lot in the past. And, but speaking of, and I hate to kind of maybe use this work in relation to their bodies, but like these superpowers that you mentioned in the work of Moon Rebus and Neil Harbison, and just thinking about how these technologies, can be used to kind of gain other senses, to kind of extend, we think about technology as kind of extending the human body in a lot of ways. And these are two artists that are quite like literally doing that. Are they, part of this conversation for you?
Yes, yes, no, definitely. They always are. They and also there is a new cyborg which is also a friend of the two of them and also from Barcelona, Manel Munoz. Manel is being more focused on some type of thing like the feeling the pressure from the air, and so he's had something that is kind of semi-permanent. They need to how the body adapt to these new things, and he's adding also some other elements to his body like the north-south elements. So when you are facing certain way or the other, but definitely like Neil was saying one point that he thinks that he sees the internet as the future of it like another like an exosense, just and we will just we become so, but in a way like his thing is more to on like Moon is to be more in touch with Earth, with the planet, like it's nice to make us apart as a different race or become like superpowers in a way, but in a way is to be surrounded, see the sounds of colors, for example, or as Neil does.
Yeah.
Or I've been with Moon doing a performance. The ones who don't know what Moon Rivas is, this cyborg artist, and she has a sensor that's connected to the seismology satellite, and she senses the tremors, which is at about every 2 minutes there is a tremor. So and many times like so performances, she was we were connected to the computer, and she started sensing the tremor before it was announced by the satellite, where it was announcing where it was and what was in the risk scale, what was the intensity of it. And after being in a room with her for like over an hour, just seeing all these movements and earthquakes happening all over the world, I started feeling this kind of like a fear or a frailty that we are never aware of all these things that could happen at any moment. We feel like always so safe and grounded, while we are not, and the planet is not. And as we know right now with COVID, we cannot really predict anything. It's like for more technologies that we have, and everybody was ready, like working on how artificial intelligence is going to destroy, is going to change, it's going to get rid of jobs, is so many things. And then the COVID came and it really put everything upside down at the same time all over the world. So yes, of course, there are things that we could plan, strategize, and but there has never been anything constant. The only thing constant is that everything is shifting, is moving, and we cannot really control much of what we think we can.
Yeah,
that's what I have learned from them as well. In order to, besides appreciating that everything is alive, we are not the center of the universe. Pretty much, there are so many other things that have almost like a spirit.
Absolutely. And I remember maybe several years ago when I was working for you at Hyphen Hub, we were producing some performances by Moon, and this for her is kind of like a sense that she kind of like lives with every day. I think maybe I saw that she has removed this ability from herself recently, but this is an experience that she has kind of like day in and day out, and art making is a way that she can kind of share that with us or through her performance, which I think I just kind of like realized or came to this realization while you were talking about this with us, of how she can use this this sixth sense to kind of help us really see kind of like the insecurity that like a lot of that we actually all face collectively as a whole, which I think is really beautiful.
It is very poetic. I mean, like for example, with Neil, many people, of course, they look at him as somebody strange or very eccentric having the antenna, but having the courage to have done that and on an early age when he was 13, because when he realized that he couldn't see colors, the rest of the world, they just don't do anything, just say, that's what it is. But Neil was very curious to know what it was, the other things that people were saying. And he went through, how does it, jumping through hoops, whatever the word is, to try to figure out how can he see that, and he went beyond. Of course, he still cannot see colors, but he hears the sounds of colors, and he could figure out a little bit about what he's missing. And like we did once a dinner organized by Hyphen Hub, where he played a symphony, a Space Odyssey, and then we divided every note by a color, and as you hear the sounds, he identified the sounds with colors. So we created a dinner that it was all organized by the notes of the Space Odyssey, and that was just colors. And every plate was, everything on the long table was the notes. And then when we decided, okay, what are we going to have for dessert? So he said, okay, let's have John Cage 433, which is no sound. And so he chose vanilla ice cream and blackberries, because the white and black don't have a sound.
You know what? I love this this idea. I don't think food and music has been explored enough, and I think my music heads in the chat will agree with me. Music and food. We need to see more work like this. That's exciting.
Yes. No. And yeah, talking about that, I want to show you. I don't know if I could go back into having a little problem sharing stuff here. I'm sometimes so bad at it. Let me see if I could switch here.
Will you show us Aero Banquets?
Aero Banquets, yes.
I've had this experience before. I've gone to a dinner.
Awesome.
And yeah. I mean, it's incredible. You put on this thing and well, I mean, just from a technological standpoint, it's like, if you're, someone who is, kind of like privileged enough to be able to experience VR, you kind of like see, you're able to kind of like, interact with the environment in a way that you can kind of control.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Am I sharing screen again?
Yeah, you are.
On, because
but to see, something kind of float towards you that's physical, it's just kind of like a unique experience. Then to put something in your mouth and have something kind of like burst in sweetness was just honestly, it makes me feel very kind of like uncomfortable when I'm not in control, and so it was difficult for me, but it was like something like I've never experienced before.
Yes, I'm gonna show you a little bit. Everyone, let me know, thumbs up if you see it. And the sound is not much needed, but you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So will you tell us what happens in here?
Okay, so like this case, Aero Banquets was created by inspired by the futurists in Italy in 1930s, which and then so Mattia created all these things in with a Unity. This project was done in a Cronus Art Center in Shanghai, where they developed it for the first time. And it's what happened is this. Are you still seeing the screen or no?
No, we see your. I mean, yeah, we see your screen, but we don't see the video. We see your mouse.
Something happened to the video. Sorry, I was trying to turn it here. What about now? Can you see the video?
Yes.
So, well, let's see. In this case, so he designed all the elements through 3D design, and he designed the plates as well. So they are, in a way, like they are very similar to what you see in the images. What we are this project was later in New York presented at the James Beard Foundation, which is a foundation culinary institute. And what we are actually thinking to do now is for the next iteration of the project is to bring it to go to the Amazons and work with our indigenous tribe and study their traditions, their meats, the food. Also talk about the destruction of the Amazons at the same time, the changes of food because of the global, the climate change, but also the deforestation of the Amazon in a way, how that is affecting all these groups of people that have pretty much have been kind of the oxygen of the world, because we have become, first the trees to bring the oxygen, and second, these people have the ancient and ancestral knowledge even before the internet started happening. They already had developed some senses talking about connecting here, like Neil and Moon, for example, to them. They had their body was so aware of these other things of the environment. They even know the trees by name, many of them, and they knew how to navigate like 100 kilometers around without needing a Google map. So
that's awesome.
Those are elements, for example, that we as humans, we have lost, because especially now with the speed of the internet, that we have and we are losing more senses than the ones we currently have, because we are always touching screens and not thinking thoroughly. We are not mindful. So those are, I thought it was very interesting just to use these and trying to go back and have a dialogue between how far are we coming with these technologies and kind of go back to our roots in a way, through working with an artist in a poetic way and create a dialogue through all this mixed media stuff.
Yeah, and so you're showing Juan's piece with the Amazon.
Oh yes,
which is also kind of in conversation with this theme, right?
Yes.
You're showing this today or tomorrow?
Juan's piece is going to be Juan Cortez, is another of the members of Hyphen Hub, and tomorrow we are here at the Maker Faire. We are showing at the Sopra Lunar, which is a project that Juan Cortez and the group Attractor Studio is his artistic group. They develop a piece for CERN, for Arts CERN program, which was originated talking about the ancient technologies from the Amazon, and then connecting and having a dialogue with the Western, scientific beliefs, and from there, evolved into studying the different, studying the black holes, and pretty much going to the history of what every region, every part of the world from ancient history to now have believed about what black holes are. And he have found that many of the things, like the ancient, the indigenous tribes on these very remote areas of the planet, they have actually a lot in common with what the scientists now see as the origins of what the black hole is about.
Yeah.
So we are not, after going all these years and centuries all around and so many ideas, we actually are very close to each other, but it's hard to put them together because of the white colonization, the way that the Western man sees the other one that was pushed down.
Absolutely.
So it's a very interesting project, actually.
That is awesome, and I think it reminds me a lot of this piece we premiered last night with Lajane McMillian and Marguerite
Yes.
And Marguerite Hemmings last night, which was called Antidote, and that was produced in partnership with Abrams Art Center. And this piece is really kind of beautiful. It involves these two artists, Marguerite and Lajane, creating dances in motion over the course of, I think the past 3 or 4 months. They've been creating dances and sharing them back and forth with motion capture software, and kind of creating this experience that kind of links them together physically, despite being kind of like only virtually available to each other. And the performance is a movement practice that it has visuals designed by Lagenet, but kind of like beautiful part about it that is in conversation with maybe some of this thing that Juan is kind of investigating as well, is this recognition of indigenous knowledge and people. So like one of the things that we were kind of becoming more familiar with were these kind of land acknowledgements before physical events. At least in the Northeast, we would kind of like start by, at least in New York, recognizing that our land, was originally that of the Lenape people, indigenous to that region. And, once COVID hit and we started moving more virtually, it didn't seem like it was necessary to kind of make that same acknowledgement, because we might be all chiming in from different places. But one of the ways that this piece, Antidote, starts or begins last night is with the virtual land acknowledgement. So it kind of also acknowledges the internet as a site of colonialism, akin with the same kind of physical colonialism and sites of colonialism that we find ourselves tuning into and from. So as a way that, I think recognizing that COVID, this virus even acted in a way by further erasing, indigenous people from our kind of like from our mindset, which I think we need to be, like also kind of like wary of and kind of integrate into our virtual performances going forward. And so there's a really nice model of that in this Antidote piece.
Yes, no, I know Lagenet's work. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Yes, so how are you, Pioneer, readapting, say, to these new changes and to this ambiguity and uncertainty of the times? You guys doing a lot of series of programs like these and online, but also you guys have a physical space where hopefully in a few months you're going to be able to resume your normal.
Yeah, and we did some physical stuff, kind of like in the fall. Now that it's becoming cold again, we're kind of closing our space for a little while and getting ready for an exhibition that will open. I'm really bad with kind of like things that are happening outside of my department. I should be a better spokesperson, but at least in the technology department, we were doing virtual events, and our artists in residence, So you bring up a good point. Pioneer Works has this beautiful big space that we kind of center, in a lot of our kind of like activities. Come to Pioneer Works. It's this gorgeous building, and we have huge concerts, and it's great. And artists have studios, and you can walk through the building and see what these artists are working on. Well, that's not really a possibility anymore. We've been giving artists, for the moment. So we've been giving artists access to their studios, but there hasn't been the same ability to kind of engage with the public that they had before. So we've been doing things like virtual studio visits and crit nights over Zoom and things like that, but it's definitely changed the way we work in a lot of ways. Our Second Sundays program, which has been the way that we welcome the public and our community into our doors each month, has moved to an online radio broadcast. So we collect kind of like, so we did an interview with Matthew Gant, for example, and kind of spoke about his new album and the way he's working musically, and how he's adapted to kind of like performances through Hoops and his online kind of pieces. And it's been challenging for me. It's we produced a book, so we've been doing more kind of like editorial things, which you can't see because it's.
Sorry, yeah. But could you you could write it? You could put it on your chat. The name of the book.
Yeah, absolutely. And for if this exists as a video afterwards, the book is called Software for Artists Book: Building Better Realities, and it engages like the thinking of 6 or so past artists in residence or artists that have worked with us in different ways. Brian Koh, Salome Sega, Stephanie Dinkins, Anne Hae-young, Ryndon Johnson, and Sige Tefesa. And these are all just kind of artists kind of looking at the kind of like the precarious state that we find ourselves in, and how, and you know, the works that they're doing to kind of uplift and support, you know, marginalized communities. There's a really kind of beautiful project by Sige Tefesa's collaborative called Bufu, which created Cloud9.com, which was collective love on your desktop. And this was an early way in the beginning of COVID to create a sense of community, to make sure people were getting PPE and the kind of mental health support in the way of kind of like meditation practices and sound baths early on in that kind of weird time. And so she talks about that project a little bit, and various other. Yeah,
I think it's there are, I think, just 5 minutes left on our conversation, and I wonder if there are any questions from anyone before we let you go. But anyway, it's been a great way to catch up and see what you guys are doing. You know, for us, Hyphen Hub has been, we have never really had a physical space, so we have semi-permanent spaces, and that we, you know, participating with other theater companies and so on, where we perform. And but I think now it has pushed us even more to do partnerships, collaborations with other entities, like we did, you know, like now with the Maker Faire, doing all these big part of the festival, and with the festival in Bogota that we just did, Real Mix 2020. We also have done things with Electra Festival, Electra Biennial in Montreal there, and bringing them to New York. And we have done a lot of things with the United Nations by bringing also some of the artists that we work with, that are part of the either women in tech, disabilities, or different issues, youth empowerment, or Indigenous Day. So that's some of the things that we. And now we also working on a project with the Manchester Metropolitan University, as we are also doing with a couple of other universities in other places, to develop projects between our artists and them, and for doing residency programs and doing research, performances, exhibitions. So that's kind of we also did a collaboration last year with Bell Labs, and which ended up with a production that we did at the New Museum, and working with the bionic performance with AI, and that was produced with the artist Janet Bakes from New York, which is another of the great talents of the Hyphen Hub community. So it's quite interesting, because we may not have all these physical building, we may not have tons of money, but it's all the partnerships and the art, the quality of the artists that we have is, I think, is our capital, and they are all very resourceful, and they give as much back as we give as well.
Absolutely. So, and thank you for that good work that you do. And maybe that might be a good time to say goodbye to everybody. And I thank you for catching up with me and our friends that are watching us. You're brave.
Yes, thanks. And sorry for all the technological difficulties at the beginning. Hopefully you will forgive me for that. Okay.
Looking forward to seeing what you. Yeah, looking forward to seeing more from you, Asher, and getting together in the physical world sometime soon.
Yes, and thank you, Maker Faire and Valentino, who brought us to this amazing festival.
100%. Thank you, Valentino and Valeria. And Davida,
Yeah,
thank you.
Valeria.
Thank you
Valeria,
too.
really amazing. Right.
Thank you for being here. I hope you're the best.
Thank you,
Yes.
Maxime. Take care.
Thanks, Davide.
Thank you.
Davida,
Bye.
bye-bye.